Hey, good afternoon. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack, and welcome to the Massachusetts show for Tuesday, May 9th. Tuesday, May 9th. It is turning out to be actually not a bad day out there. We're expecting a little bit chilly. I guess it's a little bit chilly. I just hit the mailbox and walk across the street post office, and it was just a little bit chilly. Got that breeze off the ocean there, but not a bad day. It's supposed to warm up again tomorrow. So that'll be nice. And great to have you with us for this afternoon's show. Now, let's start right off. We have important news from Beacon Hill. Let's see if I had this all queued up. Where did it go now? Let's see if we can get it here again. Hold on a second here. Oh, this is so frustrating. Hold on. I had it all queued up. How'd that go so wrong? Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay. Big news from the State House. In-state tuition rates at public colleges for illegals. So, the new proposal out of the state Senate. Let me start that over again. Free in-state tuition, or in-state tuition rates, I should say, are now coming to Massachusetts. Well, I've really tortured the introduction to this story, haven't I? Let's start one more time. Thank God there's not that many people watching. New this afternoon, in-state tuition for illegals looks like it could very well become a thing here in Massachusetts as the state Senate has released its brand new $55.8 billion budget that will include in-state tuition rates for residents. You notice they're not citizens, they're residents who've been here for 3 years with a high school degree, regardless of immigration status. In other words, if you're here illegally and you went to high school here for like 3 years, then you get to go to school for in-state tuition. So you might be a citizen of, I don't know, Mexico. You're not a citizen of the United States, but you're getting in-state resident tuition because you live here. Basically, you're scamming the system. And I know, this is just absolutely insane. Meanwhile, you're having trouble buying groceries. It makes no sense at all until you actually kind of see this video. Maybe take a look at related.
Drone footage. This is video we shot in Reynosa, Mexico, showing one of the huge migrant camps that have popped up across the river with thousands of migrants inside of it waiting for Thursday, waiting until Title 42.
So it's kind of timely that the in-state tuition for illegals is passing, because on Thursday, when the pandemic ends, we'll get to that later into this show, there are thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of illegal immigrants waiting to come into the United States. And you think they're probably going to be attracted to the state that has the most affordable college tuition. Or I think it's also Arizona that does this.
To cross over illegally, and this isn't even the only camp. Take a look at the second piece of video down by the river in Reynosa as well. Another more unofficial camp of tents set up in trees, in shrubbery. You will find these migrant camps all along,
and they're coming to a neighborhood unless the government puts them up at hotels, right? And by the government, I mean you.
The Mexican border, as these migrants continue to wait for Thursday before they plan to cross illegally into the United States. And Governor Greg Abbott doing what he can to try to stop it. He tweeted this video last night from right here in Brownsville showing layers of barbed wire they've set up in popular...
Oh, they're going to cut through that. You know that.
Areas. He says they plugged up this particular spot. He says he knows other spots are going to pop up as well, and he says they will block those with razor wire as well. And Harris, back out here live, multiple CBP sources tell me that last night a decision was made between Border Patrol.
Listen to this.
And CBP leadership to authorize all Border Patrol sectors all along the southern border to begin mass street releases of migrants to cities.
Mass street releases of migrants.
If NGOs no longer have capacity. So we can keep an eye out in the next few days for that. As I am told, as of this morning, there are more than 27,000 migrants in federal custody. That's the highest number I've ever seen. Take a look at this
27,000
stunning
migrants in custody, the highest he's ever seen. I think that was Bill Malugion's voice from Fox. Everything free in America. Everything free in America. If you're illegal, right? You're going to get free health care. You're going to get free housing. You're going to get in-state tuition, most likely coming very soon. Everything free in America. Isn't that nice for you? Now, the citizens, no, it sucks for you because there's coming massive tax bill that comes with providing all this free stuff. And yeah, plus the crime, plus the fentanyl that also comes across the border when you have an open border. And we have an open border. Remember, I've been to the border. There's a lot of people that say, oh, we don't have an open border. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I went to the border in Eagle Pass. I've told you this before, on a Sunday morning at about 8:30. Strolled down there to the boat ramp at Eagle Pass, and within 20 minutes, I saw people coming across the country, entering the country illegally. I didn't have to wait and go, oh, I wonder if I'll see this like it was like a passing event. No, it was just a never-ending stream. And it's worse now because Title 42, which is the pandemic thing, that ends when the pandemic ends on May 11th, even though Biden told us the pandemic. Let's forget it. We won't talk about that. Last September, he told us, right? So yeah, it's just that way in America. That's just the way it is. You're going to pay for everything because those are the new voters for the Democrat Party, and also big business wants cheaper labor. Remember now, every time they can hire somebody cheaper, that's money out of your paycheck, right? If they were going to pay you, let's just say $20 an hour, they don't have to do that now, because they have an illegal who do it for $11. Get it? So not only you have to pay directly higher taxes, but you're also going to getting a lower wage, because now these are all competitors to you. If you have like a regular working class job, if you're working the drive-through window at Dunkin' Donuts, oh, Jack, restaurants or nobody ever hires illegal. Yeah, they do. Right? Within a couple of months, they got a work permit and they're working, competing against you. God, your leaders hate you. Your leaders, Republicans and Democrats, the establishment, they hate you. Look what they're doing to you. This is absolutely horrific. Oh, by the way, you'll also, highly likely, if the Senate provision pass, free prison calls for convicts. So, according to the Senate plan that was released this afternoon, so if they send you to jail for saying something like there's only two genders, at least you'll get a free phone call. Because in the Senate plan, there's going to be free phone calls for prisoners. Isn't that nice? No free school meals, no online lottery, no. But free prison calls for your convicts. Yep, that's how it goes. Here in Massachusetts. Welcome to one-party rule. Howie Carr getting care after fainting during show. So the radio host is doing better after the Monday incident, family said. Well, that's good news. Good old Howie, right? He's been a legend in this town for, 35 years, something like that. I've been on the Howie Carr show. Maybe you have too. I think the first time I was on the Howie Carr show was, I think I was in college. I wrote an article for my college newspaper, and he had me on the show back in the day. I would think that would have been in the fall of 1991. So that was probably 32 years ago or something like that. Somebody do the math for me. So it says here, according to Boston.com, and you know how much Boston.com loves Howie. Howie covers fainting while hosting his talk show on this is the first I've heard about this. I heard an hour or so ago. Thank you for all your thoughts and prayers. Howie's getting care, family said in a statement. Oh, that's nice. According to 25 News, Carr passed out behind the microphone during his show Monday, and the station ran commercials before bringing on another host. That's awful. That could be from any number of things, but I hope he's been looking better. I think, I've seen some pictures and he looks like he's thinned out, but maybe too much. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully it's just a passing thing. And it won't be, a major absence, and he'll come right back. I hope so. Talking about the pandemic, yes, theoretically, the emergency is over on Thursday, right? Today's the 9th, so that would be Thursday's the 11th. But we must remain vigilant as the state's public health emergency ends Thursday, officials say. This will be coterminous with the federal emergency. They will include rescinding the statewide order of requiring masks for all health providers and visitors in healthcare settings, which I told you, I think last week, I totally disregarded after I found the healthcare workers were also totally disregarding the rule. After years of hard work, we're in a better place. But continue to prioritize prevention in everything we do as we adapt to living with COVID-19, Goldstein said. This is not the end of the pandemic. It can't be the end of the pandemic, because if it's the end of the pandemic, that means it's the end of our power. Well, we can't have that. This is not the end of COVID. Rather, it's the end of the emergency phase of the pandemic. Access to the vaccine will remain. Oh, thank God. Thank God we'll still have access to the vaccine. It works so well. The cost of the vaccine will still fall to the federal government, which, man, which is you, right? Oh, that's federal government money. Don't worry, it's free. No, it's not. It's you. Nobody should be limited in their access to the vaccines, Mr. Goldstein, Dr. Goldstein said. Well, that's nice. I think there's a lot of people that are limited to the vaccine, to their access to the vaccine, because they don't want it. They don't want it, right? So, what did Reagan say? I've said this all the time. The only thing certain or close to everlasting life is a government program. I'm pretty sure that's his quote, right? Oh, God. Certain government programs seems to have, there's a lot to learn, I'll just say, in this situation out in Uxbridge, where 6 of the 7 town school committee members, if you don't know where Uxbridge is, it's out kind of like beyond 495 and Route 146 territory. Nice little town. 6 of the 7 members of the town school committee resigned. Now, there's not a lot of detail on why this would be. It's an unusual situation. Many of you are aware that 6 of our 7 school committee members have resigned from their post in recent days, school superintendent said. I understand that such an unusual situation can prompt more questions than answers. The school committee, that the exodus will have no impact on staff or students. Gee, if the exodus will have no impact on the staff or the students, then maybe we don't need the school committee to begin with. Just throwing that out there. But don't worry. They're having Ed Davis. You know him. He's a nice guy, but he's the former Boston police commissioner. And he runs this company called Ed Davis Company. And he's going to be launching an investigation as to why everyone resigned. That part is the weird part. No additional details immediately available. Why is a former Boston police commissioner and his company launching an investigation as to why 6 out of the 7 people resigned? What's going on here? There's apparently no additional information, but I think if you live in Uxbridge, I'm guessing there's a backstory. To this. Just thinking that there could be something more than meets the eye. Really, I mean, why have an investigation? 6 out of the 7 people resigned. Okay. Then follow the procedure. There probably is a procedure to fill a vacancy. Imagine it requires a special election or something like that, or appointing whoever came in the runner-up in the last, whatever it is. I'm sure they have a procedure for filling a vacancy. Follow that procedure. But why an outside investigation by a former police commissioner? What's going on here? If you know, let us type it into the comments. Federal judge throws out Boston City Council district map, orders the council to make a new one. So file this under Who's the Racist Now? Because this council map was designed to shift votes and favor minority populations, because everything has to be done by the color of everyone's skin, right? So basically, this was a map written. Now, this is a fact established by the federal judge. This map was a racist map designed to disenfranchise white voters. That is now a federally government finding. That is now a federal government finding. The lack of a new district map could cause confusion, you think, in the upcoming elections. Remember, elections are an odd numbered years. The city council must come up with a new map, as the judge effectively scrapped their original plan. Now, this lawsuit was funded by Erin Murphy. I believe she's a city councilor, and I think Mr. Murphy, also a city councilor. The judge ruled that challenge to the map would likely be successful under the 14th Amendment. And the ruling prohibits the city from using the existing map in the upcoming elections. Plaintiffs have demonstrated a likelihood of success in showing that the race played a I should read this slower. Plaintiffs have demonstrated likelihood of success in showing that race played a predominant role in the city's redrawing of districts 3 and 4. The defendants have not demonstrated that the enacted map is narrowly tailored to achieve a compelling state interest. So these redistricting maps usually face a strict scrutiny test, and there is no compelling interest in this case. The new district map would have taken several conservative-leaning and white majority precincts in Dorchester out of District 3 and placed them in District 4, which is basically Mattapan. Similarly, it would have carved out precincts in South Boston and inserted them into District 3. So doing the political math here, that's basically disenfranchises white people. It's racist against white people. According to the federal judge, while supporters of these changes says they were meant to prevent the map from packing black voters into District 4, opponents felt it divided closely connected communities. The map was approved by the city council and Mayor Wu last fall, but opposed by several more right-leaning city council. Remember, it's the Globe, so we always have to say they're right-leaning or white. Heaven forbid they be white. They should probably apologize for being white. How dare they be white? The ruling was a win for the map detractors. The Globe reported that the preliminary injunction violated the 14th Amendment. Now, the Globe continues to go back and forth saying, well, they didn't vote. The judge didn't completely side with the plaintiffs. Yeah. Okay. So there were some minor points that they didn't side with. But once you have been ruled to violate the 14th Amendment, is there any other provisions that really matter after that? I don't think so. So, a rare instance of the free market has occurred in Massachusetts. I know it's shocking, but Nantucket residents, where they have a huge housing problem over there, it's very difficult to rent an apartment year round if you're a regular working class person in Nantucket. Very difficult. And Nantucket residents have now voted against a proposal to limit short-term rentals. In other words, heaven forbid, they're actually going to let the free market decide what people can do with their own property. Oh, well, we can't have that in Massachusetts, can we? Oh my God, this will probably be challenged by somebody, right? Nantucket residents voted down a proposal to limit short-term rentals over the weekend. Nantucket's annual meeting voted fairly heftily, 558 to 378, against Article 60, which would have amended the zoning law to prohibit short-term rentals in residential zones, basically outlaw Airbnb, except if lived in by the owner for 6 months of the year, or in the case of commercial properties used more for long-term resident, it needed a 2/3 majority to pass. The island is facing a housing crisis because basically they also say no to pretty much building anything else. So it's nice that the free market prevailed here. People should have the right to short-term rent their property. If that's the highest and best use, in other words, the highest return on investment, then people should have the right to do that. When that happens, it might create a shortfall in long-term year-round housing, which, if the market is allowed, in other words, we need to get rid of more regulation. We need to get rid of more regulation. We need to repeal regulations because that's what's stopping the market from acting. Once the market is freed to respond to that, they'll create more long-term housing. That's just how those things work. If the market's allowed to actually function, if the market is actually allowed to function as a free market. The thing is, here in Massachusetts, what we have, and you've heard me say this many, many times, is that we have politicians come in and they say, the market's not working. We're going to tweak the laws, which means give them more power. And once they give themselves more power, then a couple of years later, they look at it and say, the market's not working. We need to do the work. We need to do more work. And so they pass laws that give the government more control over the market. And then what do you know? A couple of years later, they look at it and they say, the market's not working. Market is failing. Let's have more government control. And it's just one politician after another, because none of them can actually come up and say, you know what, it's not working. And you know what's not working is all the government involvement isn't working. You see, politicians always want to say they've done something. And Republicans and Democrats, they're both equally guilty of this. Rather than say, well, I'm getting out of the way so the market can solve this problem. Rather than saying that, they always want to say, hey, I passed this piece of legislation, which in turn gives them something to accomplish them. They can pat themselves on the back, but also gives them more power. It's a vicious cycle. There's very few people that actually have the wisdom and discipline to say, you know what? This is a problem. Let's get the government out of the way. All right. Restaurant technology company Toast, I think they process payments and that type of thing, to abandon the Sears Tower building, not the big tower in Chicago, the Sears building, over by the Fenway. They're going to pay $16 million to get out of their lease at the Sears building in the Fenway. I know. So they so bad don't want to rent office space. They're actually going to pay $16 million not to rent it. Yeah. No reason why. Oh, no. In this article, you don't get a reason why. But they're going to be, they're scheduled to expire at the end of 2029, but they're getting out of their spaces on the 5th and 8th floor by January 30th this year and by the end of 2024. So it's going to be a phased move out. Toast will pay. Toast is Toast, apparently, for the Sears building. What do they call that? The Landmark Center now or something like that. Will pay $16 million to get out of the lease. Documents don't spell out Toast's reason for leaving or clarify how much of the office space they may seek elsewhere. Building Toast is leaving is the former Sears building. We all know that. Okay, Brookline Park Drive. Yeah, but trendy food court. There is a nice food court in the first floor. I don't know if you've been there, but it's nice. I don't know how they're doing though, because they kind of launched it just before or maybe even during the pandemic, which is over, but it's just the emergency phase that's over. The pandemic will never be over. It can't be over. We'll lose power. But I don't know how that food court thing is doing. Maybe you can tell me if you've been there. I've been there. I ate there once, I think. And once I remember. So they're gone. They're Toast. This is just a very small nugget of, I think, something that I'll do in an upcoming show. But I just read a commercial real estate report for Boston. Not from my agency. As you know, I run Jack Gately Real Estate, and we do mostly residential, although I do some commercial. But this real estate agency is a real powerhouse downtown, and they issue a quarterly report. and it doesn't look good for the foot traffic in downtown Boston. Some downtown Boston's like the Back Bay is up to like 65% of their people are back on a Monday through Friday basis. That still means that 35% of the regular population isn't there during the workday, during the weekday. In the financial district is worse. Only 45% of financial district workers in those big office towers where they make all sorts of money are back on a Monday through Friday basis. Wow, that is really, that's devastating. All right, so that is the report. Hey, Howie Carr, I hope you feel better. Thank you so much for watching. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack, broadcasting to you from Plymouth, America's hometown in Massachusetts. Have a great day.